You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. If you're just joining us, we've been talking about homeowner associations that may try to have their meetings closed. Board of directors who don't allow for participation from their members. And we're going to kind of segue into that to talk about why is it that it's difficult to even find people to serve on board of directors. Part of the reason might be just the very thing we've just gotten done talking about, and that is if you are not taking a great effort as a homeowner association board to be transparent in all that you say and do, people don't know that there may be a need for other people to volunteer. People may not participate, but are willing to do so. You'd probably have a better participation the more that you contribute. And we were just talking about that at the state legislature in Nevada, where that's become an issue, where the state legislature there is saying, hey, you know what? When it comes to, as it pertains to HOAs, if you have a board meeting, there's going to be a requirement now that those meetings be open. And I've said that they should be open. Now, I'll give you that there are certain times that an association should look at having a closed session, but that is few and far between. That's not for most of the activity and the direction and the decisions that a board makes. Only for some. If you're going into litigation, you might have some things that are kind of private that you don't want to get out there because it would compromise the association's ability to prevail. You may be dealing with issues of collections with individuals, how to handle that. Personal information that when you are in an HOA, you have a responsibility to handle personal information and to be able to respect people's privacy and not make sure that information gets out. So there's going to be times, indeed, don't get me wrong, that you are going to find that the board needs to have something in a closed session, but it's not going to be the norm. It's going to be just special cases. We've got a couple people who have been emailing and writing to us about this. There's one person who writes that in regards to meetings, is it okay to have a meeting without most of the members? In talking about an issue of the annual meeting that may take place in the winter, but a lot of people are snowbirds and fly south for the winter, and so they're not here in Minnesota to go to the annual meeting, and that just doesn't seem right. Does it? And my response to that is there's a couple of things to keep in mind when that occurs. Sometimes the governing documents in a particular homeowners association's bylaws and in their declaration, it will be very specific in stating when the annual meeting can take place. I've heard one that I know of one that says the annual meeting of members will take place the second Thursday of every September. And that's very specific. And if it is stated that way, then the association must do it. Otherwise, they're not in compliance. That would be a reason why that particular association may want to take a look at amending their documents to allow that to also include, or at a time to be determined by the board of directors. That would free the association up to be able to have the meeting at a different time. So to the person who asked the question about people who always seem to miss that annual meeting, it may be because they're constrained by their governing documents and ought to take a look at changing it. If it is a matter of, like we talked about earlier in the show, people set precedent and they say, well, this is the way we've always done it. That can be bad form for an association board to say, well, we've always done it that way. If it doesn't make sense because a lot of people are gone, there's no reason why. There's nothing written in stone then that would prevent you from being able to change it. To me, it would make sense to then be more favorable at a time when other people can attend. We've got another email here too, and this is email from someone saying, "Dear Gene, great show today." I thank you for that. And they said, "I've got a question about a homeowner." And it says, "Can a homeowner ask that their board use Robert's Rule of Orders, so that each homeowner attending a meeting has an equal chance to be heard? Or how about stating a time limit to speak so that all homeowners know this prior to the meeting? I attended a meeting," it says, "of my association, by the way, and they said, I think we've got a dedicated board, but several homeowners dominated the discussion, and even though I raised my hand several times and tried to be heard, I was not acknowledged. Then the president said the forum time was ended. I had to interrupt with a raised voice to finally be heard. How could we have managed this meeting more effectively? Please advise." That is a very common thing. One thing that I will say about Robert's Rules of Order is that the whole purpose of Robert's Rules is only one thing, and that is to allow everybody to have an opportunity to participate in an orderly fashion and allow for everybody to be heard and allow everybody to be respected and allow for the meeting to progress and move forward, because there are certain rules of how you're going to address, and people aren't going to just step in and interrupt someone else. Robert's Rules of Order is what's used on the federal level with our Congress and with our Senate. It's what's used at the state level. It's used at the city level. And it should also be used at homeowner association meetings too. But the bottom line is some people feel kind of awkward using it because they're not familiar with Robert's Rules of Order. I don't think it's that difficult. You should take some time to be able to become familiar with it, allow someone to kind of be the parliamentarian to allow the meeting to progress. You'll find that if you do that as an HOA, you'll probably get your meetings done much more quickly, much more effectively if you can begin to use that. But one suggestion at a homeowners forum, and this is what our listener was talking about, where some people dominated the homeowners forum and there wasn't enough time for everybody to talk. Here's what one HOA at New Concepts does, and I appreciate how they handle it. I know one board that says they begin each meeting by saying, "We have a homeowners forum now for 20 minutes." And so you as homeowners, if you have something, a concern, something you'd like to bring up, there's a 20-minute period of time. If there's 4 of you present that want to talk, you'll each have 5 minutes. If there's 20 of you that want to talk, each of you have 1 minute. And if there's only one, you can take all 20 minutes if you'd like. And so they divide that time up equally. They state that to the homeowners ahead of time. I don't know of any homeowner that has generally taken all of that time. And I think that's a very good idea of how to make sure that everybody has some time to be able to share concerns at a homeowners forum prior to the start of a board meeting. One thing that I would suggest, though, if you are a homeowner and you have an issue that is a larger concern and you want some face-to-face time with the board, and you want some interaction with them, the homeowners forum may not be the appropriate way to bring that up. What you can do instead would be, as a homeowner, call the management company if it's managed, or call the board if it's a self-managed association, and let them know prior to the meeting that you would like to be placed on the agenda of the next board meeting. That's different than the homeowners forum. The homeowners forum is a time for everybody to just share concerns. On the agenda means that specific time is going to be taken where you get to sit down and talk to the board face-to-face about an issue. Now, if you are asking to be put on the agenda, please note that the board may say, well, we don't have time this upcoming month, but we'll get you on the next month because they may have some pressing issues. So you don't expect that you'd be on the agenda each and every time. But you know what? I think most boards probably go out of their way, and if someone called even just 3 or 4 days ahead of time saying, I'd like to be on the agenda for next month, I bet you the board would probably be more than happy to give you that time. But those would be some things that I would suggest that you do. Well, we need to take another quick break, but remember, we haven't even gotten to the subject yet of why won't people serve on the board? We're going to deal with that right after this break. You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony on AM 1280, The Patriot. Don't go away.